Hi, and here we go again. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to what we call Cast Iron Wednesday. And this is a tradition that a number of the smaller YouTube cooking channels have been doing for the past several years, where we do a cast iron video on Wednesday. Most people just have fun playing around with their cast iron, cooking, cleaning, restoring cast iron. And here, as you can see, is a fair amount of, my collection that I've managed to gather over the past 13 years. Boy, it's been 13 years already, but actually, yes, it has. I'm surprised to say. Yeah, this is the result of being a guy living by myself with nobody, with a hobby, with nobody to tell me, no, you can't get that. And my biggest fear is becoming a hoarder. You think I'm a hoarder, folks? Well, there's a question I guess I can ask you because um, this is in fact Q&A night, namely that the first Wednesday of the month on this channel for a while now, we have been having a cast iron discussion where basically I get to stand here, and you folks can really pretty much ask any questions that you want, and feel free to answer any questions that you want as well, because there seems to be no end of discussion here in regards to cast iron. So I can only say thank you, as always, to everybody who has been kind enough to show up regularly here on my channel each week, like Cynthia Wesley, for instance, and Fuzz Fork 8, and Rocket Caver VCBR, Val's Black Cats Rule, and hello Anthony, and hello Huggy Bear. Ronald, you should never think your head off. It's unhealthy. I don't recommend it. Yes, exactly. While thinking is good, overthinking maybe not so much. And hello as well to Pip Gorn and Anthony and Chris McGee. How did the rainbow cake turn out? Well, the rainbow cake actually turned out terrific, I think. In that we managed to produce a very nice rainbow. I actually have pictures of it on the recipe on my website. I have been slowly rebuilding my website. It's going to take a long time, really, to have it up to where it was, but I'm doing my best. If you look on the section of my website now, motomac.com, under Adventures in Culemancy, Cooking Magic, you can see those are where I am slowly putting the recipes back up. And under the desserts, there is an option there for a rainbow pound cake. And you could definitely see it yourself, as well as the instructions on how we made it. So yes, I think it actually turned out terrific. And so did actually the kids, who pretty much made short work of that cake. That was one thing. That cake went like that. Really, as far as they were concerned, they said I thought the cake had a nice vanilla taste to it. They said it tasted more like shortbread, which I don't think is a bad thing. So I don't know if you're a hoarder, says Terry Sinchef. I know if I am. Well, people, that's the thing. I've seen, unfortunately, people who are hoarders and were hoarders, and nobody really seems to know it until after they've stopped being a hoarder, whether that means they've actually managed to clean up their act, or in the case of my dad, they passed on, because we didn't even realize until after Dad had finally passed on that yes, he was definitely a hoarder. But that's not a subject I'm going to get into that much. I mean, except where, well, cast iron is concerned. I mean, what can I say here? Having a collection like this pretty much spread across my home. And Buzzfork8 asks, with the Lodge auction coming up in August for logo skillets, is it an online auction, or must you be there in person? I think you need to be there in person, I'm sorry to say, because when I was there at the National Cornbread Festival and they were showing off those skillets, they said they're actually going to be selling tickets to the auction, and those tickets are going to be about $25 each. So I'm presuming that it is not going to be an online auction, and you do actually have to be there in person. I am not personally involved with the auction. I learned about it when, like everybody else, from Lodge Cast Iron. I was lucky enough to be able to take a couple of videos of the actual pans that they're going to be auctioning off. And here's the thing: Lodge is donating all of the proceeds from this auction to I forget what charity, but they're not doing this to raise revenue. This is all going to be a charity donation. So it's a good I can only give them kudos for that. And yeah, go ahead and take a look again at the online mentions of the Lodge auction that's going to be coming up in August. So um, yeah, no. Hoarder, no. Serious collection, yes. Well, I will take that as a compliment. I think that's the best I can say. Anthony, yes, apparently the auction is for charity, but I honestly don't know all the details because I'm not personally involved with the auction myself, and frankly, I'm not going to be there because while some of those pans do look very nice, uh, really, it's like yes, I'm certainly guilty to owning more than a few of these Lodge logo skillets myself. However, I really have not felt the need to go out of my way to massively collect a huge number of them. I mean, these are definitely ones here that have appealed to me. But, like, for example, I am not trying to collect all of the Cracker Barrel series. I have deliberately missed out on, quite frankly, most of them. Some of the Cracker Barrel pans I picked up, I ended up either selling or giving away as gifts. So I did keep a few of them only because, well, one, I do indeed enjoy them, and some do have sentimental value. Like, for instance, here is the American Seal skillet that they produced for Cracker Barrel in, I believe it was 2015. And yeah, this is actually special because this was actually a present to me when I met Jeff Rogers for the first time at the National Cornbread Festival. He gave this to me as a present. So I certainly have no intention of getting rid of it. And besides, it's a very nice design on it, too. Yes, this is the 10-inch skillet that Cracker Barrel sold and was made by Lodge in 2015. Last year, they re-released this design as a 12-inch skillet. And I have not seen the 12-inch skillet for resale yet, even though it's been a year. So that's interesting. That may very well indicate that perhaps the 12-inch one might even be more of a collector's item. So question says Susan Rand. Hello, Susan Rand. Hello. How do I get rid of the crusty stuff on the outside of my cast iron skillet? If you've got too bad of a buildup, well, there are several ways to do it. Most of them involve, frankly, using lye to get rid of it. You strip the pan down and season it. Which means you could either build a lye bath, which I find to be really, really easy and really useful if you're going to be cleaning up a lot of cast iron pans. If you only want to do one pan or maybe a couple of pans, the other popular option is the oven cleaner in a trash bag method. If you look on YouTube, of course, you will see there are many videos about how people use easy off oven cleaner to strip down the gunk from their cast iron pans. Essentially, you just do that. You cover the pan with easy off oven cleaner, spray a lot more into a plastic trash bag, tie it up, seal it up, and keep it in a warm place for, well, quite frankly, a long time. We're talking anywhere like maybe from a week to a month or more. So that's the thing about lye, though. It works great, but it does take a while and you do need patience. Some people have asked this question, namely, how do I clean the buildup only from the outside of my pan? That's a lot more difficult. I mean, I would think that if you took a pan, maybe like say, and filled a little shallow dish with lye, for instance, and if you were patient enough to place it in that dish so that it was only on the outside, so that it didn't spill over onto the inside of the pan, and again, you let it sit for a week or two, you might very well be able to wash off the outside, but not the inside, although you would then have to reseason it nonetheless. I think that would work, but frankly, if I was going to do that, I would indeed strip down the pan from scratch because, yes, I know. And here's the thing, but there's decades of seasoning, there's decades of family love built up in the center of this pan. And that is a really good sentimental reason. Yes, it's a cast iron pan. You can always do more because here it is. This, for instance, was my grandmother's skillet, my grandmother on my father's side. And when my father was still around, in fact, he gave this pan to me and to clean up for him. And this thing was incredibly coated with, with so much gunk on it, you simply would not believe it. Wow, this almost no, this isn't a crack on the inside. No, it isn't. Anyway, this thing had, I mean, this must have had like a quarter inch or an eighth of an inch of crusty buildup all around the entire inside and outside of the pan. There is absolutely no way to tell what this was. So I ran this through electrolysis for I'm guessing like about 3 or 4 days, in fact, and it was really completely stripped down. And it was only then that I was able to discover that this is in fact a number in diamond pan, and I'm trying to get it so that the light shows the this pan, especially there it is, the logo there on the bottom, known as the number in diamond, because as you can see, that's exactly what it is, the size number in a diamond shape. And I personally am part of the crowd that thinks this was probably among the last generation of pans made by Favorite Stove and Range after they were acquired by Chicago Hardware Foundry. My understanding is this handle is the handle of a Chicago of a CHF. It's not the same shape handle as a Favorite. So as such, I can only really just go with that theory because there's really no way to prove it other than the fact that there have been some pans discovered that actually still have that still have the label on them that say favorite, and they also say Chicago Hardware Foundry. Regardless, what I know is this was my grandmother's pan, and I did strip the entire pan inside and out, which gets back to your original question. So, I mean, while it's possible you could just strip the outside of the pan, I would say that if you're going to do the effort of it, go the distance. Strip the entire pan from scratch and start building up a brand new generation of, well, love. Cooking with this pan and just putting new seasoning on it. That and besides, that's the best way to keep your cast iron pan seasoned anyway, and that is to use it. So, do you have any favorite? Says Honey Badger. Yes, I have a couple of favorite. I have a small favorite here among my number threes, which I know I came across it. It is here. It is. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I could actually find pans in my collection without too much difficulty. So, yeah, here's one. Here's a favorite. I still can't pronounce it right. Is it Piquaware or Piquaware? I'm still not sure. Anyway, this is a number three. And recently, I was gifted a favorite, a number eight favorite by one of the members of this channel. And I was very grateful to him for that gift because I did not ask for it. However, I have to be honest, I gave that favorite number eight away. I gave it away to a friend I've gotten very close to recently, and she knows who she is, and she and her kids, that is. So yeah, it's like I've pretty much found a whole bunch of new friends here. In that I've got a family, including kids who I've been able to cook for recently. And just recently I helped them restock their kitchen. I've gone flea marketing for them and found a bunch of pans for them, and I gave them that favorite number eight as a present. And so far, they have been keeping it in tip top condition too. So I'm very glad to have been able to give them that a vintage cast iron pan to play with. So yes, currently the favorites I have in my collection are that number three, which is like crack for collectors, and the number in diamond number eight. So yes, there's a video on my channel on how to say from how to say it from us Ohioans. Well, that's actually interesting, Honey Badger. How to pronounce it. Yeah, I think I definitely need that. For and Morris family, I would put money down. No one here has iron deficiency. Well, that is certainly a possibility. The whole thing about ingesting iron from cast iron in your food. The amount of iron you actually ingest from cast iron is very, very small, maybe more than microscopic, but it's a very minuscule amount. It's really not that much. If you do cook tomatoes and other acidic foods in cast iron, you do increase slightly. You do slightly increase the iron intake because you're affecting the seasoning and allowing more of the actual iron to get into the food. But the amount that you're actually ingesting is very, very small. Nonetheless, I do know that there are some people who have had their cast iron recommended by doctors or other kinds of health practitioners. Although I personally wouldn't just trust a doctor. And there are people who swear that they are no longer anemic because they cooked in cast iron. Well, okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try to argue with you on that. I don't have the expertise to really be able to say yes, you're correct, or no, you're not correct. That's is all I know. What I do know, as stated, is that the amount of iron you ingest is small, and we can really only leave it at that. I I wake up in the morning and say, I am Iron Man, says Corey Clark. Terry Sinchef, I belong to a club that owns a chicken fryer that has favorite in Chicago hardware on the bottom. Yes, indeed. Some of those pans were in fact made like that. Again, after Chicago Hardware Foundry acquired Favorite. And and I would guess it must have only been for a couple of years or so, because Chicago Hardware Foundry, my understanding is they actually stopped producing cast iron themselves by the time World War II was around. So, and that's about all I know of their history, unfortunately. I'm told the Favorite Stove Company may actually have been around until the 1950s, but they definitely stopped producing cast iron by the late 1930s. Cast iron is better for you than Viagra. Well, there's a subject that I probably could not get into here on a channel where I'm mostly family friendly. I have towed the line a couple of times. Might even be an unmarked Wagner number 3. Oh, okay. Yes, and Piqua, and Piqua. Okay, Piqua. Got it. Piqua. I'm gonna have to remember that. Hello, Papa Dan. Listening only, making supper because Cindy hasn't bounced back from her heart catheter. Ouch, I'm sorry to hear that. Have you ever seen a coal starter pan? Pan with holes in the bottom. Sent a PM with a picture. Yeah, I did get that message today. I do have to be honest, I have not yet had a chance to take a look at that. But if we're quick, now might be as good a time as any. Let me see. Look over here. Oh, I see it. Let me load. Okay, let me bring this photo up here. And this is the one you're talking about here, where it says old coal starter. And I am not really familiar with this. I can't say I've ever seen this one before. So I have very little information, I'm sorry to say, about this. At a glance, the design on this pan, maybe the handle might say Lodge. I'm not entirely sure. I, I'm honestly, this is something I'm not too familiar with. I know they have modern day pans like this, which are meant especially for cooking over fires to help really give a good sear or a flaming sear, that is, to your food. But as a coal starter, I'm not sure. Especially since coal chimneys are not shaped like this, as you know. The coal chimneys have to be more vertical in order for you to have airflow through the coals. So I'm. This is another subject I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of research into. Um, own any Excelsior out of St. Louis? Um, okay, this is something. that has to do with gate marked skillets, these famous ones that they call 19th century gate marks. And I do have one, in fact, which is good old lucky number 7. And here it is, my cornbread skillet, where I have made quite a few loaves of cornbread and a few other things in this pan as well. And it is true that the Excelsior Foundry of St. Louis actually did make some pans with this design, and they did, in fact, have the Excelsior logo on them. They're one of the only manufacturers that I know of who did, in fact, have their name on it. Does that mean they're the inventors of the or designers of that particular pattern? I don't know. Because the fact is that pattern was really used by a number of small manufacturers in the 19th century, and it could be very well that one, these patterns could have been sold to a whole bunch of small foundries, or two, these patterns could just simply have been copied now, by small foundries. I have no idea whether they enforce copyright laws on those particular ones or not. But all I know is that, yes, it is true that they do. I mean, there was the Excelsior Foundry, but I do not know if they would be considered really the ones who actually designed these particular pans. The ones with these handles that you can still find even today, just about everywhere. All right. Compare the coal starter to your wood chip smoker pan, please. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Okay, let's bring this one up, shall we? But this isn't a coal starter. This is actually meant as a smoker pan, and here it is. Here it is, right here. This is the Lodge so-called smoker skillet, which you're actually meant. Yeah, and as you can see, it actually has these holes put in the pan itself as well as the lid. The idea being is that you are supposed to put your wood chips in this so that it will then smoke your food. When I first got this, I talked about using this in my oven, and I was told that probably would not be a good idea, as it would probably smoke up a lot more of my kitchen than just the oven. Well, I'm still looking for the opportunity to find out about it. Anyway, okay, if you want to compare this to that smoker skillet, if you notice, this does have smaller holes because, of course, the wood chips, you don't want the wood chips to fall out of these things. So that's one thing. Those holes were large and round. And, consider as well, how easy do you think it might be for coals to fall through the holes in that coal starter skillet? Um, Let me bring it up one last time, shall I? And we'll take another look. I mean, do you think it doesn't even say how big this particular skillet is? I mean, it's sitting next to what looks like a 12-inch Dutch oven. So I would have to think that this might be perhaps, oh, I don't know, maybe number 5 size, perhaps. Would you say then that those holes there are possibly too small for coals to fall out of? Um, Again, I do not know, but maybe the person who smoke wood and coals here regularly might be able to offer their opinion on it. So see what you might think. Cynthia Wesley, I sent Rick the pics. Tell him all 3 of those Wagner wares were given to me today. Oh, well, congratulations on that. You got yourself a good score there. Buzz48, I've seen some negative articles on Cracker Barrel closing stores, and I was wondering if this might be the end of their sponsored skillets from Lodge. I've been wondering about that too, not because of Cracker Barrel closing their stores, but I noticed that that this year the Cracker Barrel skillet, which I did still pick up in a moment of weakness, um, here is the 2024 Cracker Barrel skillet, which is in fact simply a slight modification of the Lodge Made in America skillet that Lodge produced about, what was it, about 3 years ago. maybe 2 years at the most, or least, I should say. So 2 to 3 years ago, they only very slightly redesigned the skillet, and this is what is being sold at Cracker Barrel this year. Now, this is the second year in a row where there has not been a truly unique design for the Cracker Barrel skillet. Last year, as I mentioned, Cracker Barrel re-released a 12-inch of their American Seal skillet. And this year was the just that Made in America skillet. So considering that, I was actually wondering if that means that maybe they are reaching the end of those Made in America, their American series. I'm not sure. I did mention that to Ken Margraf when I saw him at the National Cornbread Festival. Apparently, he's a lodge affiliate, by the way. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if he actually works for Lodge or if he has some other kind of business connection to them, but apparently he does. Anyway, Ken Margraf, he pointed out that apparently Cracker Barrel is just kind of skimping in that they don't like paying Lodge to design their skillets or something like that. But for whatever reason, it's like Lodge has designed their skillets for Cracker Barrel, and apparently Cracker Barrel has been kind of backing away on that the last couple of years or so. Because, I mean, really, as they said, if they had the opportunity, they would design some really beautiful skillets for them. But Cracker Barrel hasn't agreed to it. So it sounds like there might be some politics going on there. And that is yet another thing I'm not privy to, I'm afraid. So yeah, as far as a Q&A session is concerned, folks, as you can see, I am not some expert giving judgment from on high, basically telling you the final answer to all your questions. I don't think I've ever claimed to be that kind of an expert. What I am doing is just having fun, having a discussion with you. So thank you very much, and thank you for the questions. For instance, Ronald Coward, people used to make those to sift out ashes and save coals to start fires with, or coal pieces. My great grandmother had one. Oh, well, that's good to know. Well, thank you for the information, Ronald. I'm glad to hear that. So, Rocket Caver, I'm still looking for a number 12 Great Seal skillet. Nowhere to be found. Well, it's not a number 12, it's a 12-inch. That was my bad. Yeah, exactly. It's like they sold out last year and now they seem to be nowhere to be found. So, maybe Cracker Barrel made the right choice in releasing those pans as a 12-inch. I wasn't sure if they'd sell as a 12-inch because they were, of course, more expensive. But, well, they might be right. Hello, Louis J. Yes, hello, Louis J. Caster and Cooking. Glad to see everyone here. Nice to see you too. Celine, it's the first time I've seen one, says Cynthia Wesley. I've been neglecting to hunt to get a new fridge and lucked up. Oh, okay. Yeah, if Cracker Barrel would let Lodge design their pans, they would probably sell a lot more cast iron cookware. Yeah, that's the thing. So maybe there might indeed be some behind the scenes politics going on, but I am not privy to that. Jim F. Hi, sorry you're late. You're not late. We're all here. Do you have one of those French roll pans? What do you use it for if you have one? I do not have one of those, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Those oval shaped bread loaf pans. I do not have one of those, unfortunately, partly because bread baking is yet another one of those things I really want to get into and have not had the chance to do so yet. Um, I keep saying yet because yes, I do indeed want to do bread baking, and but also just as important, I have not yet had the opportunity to acquire one of those French roll pans or baguette pans or whatever you call them pans at a decent price. As usual, with a lot of vintage cast iron, those particular pans are selling at sky high prices, especially since at this time, since I'm not really getting much use out of that kind of a thing, that's really not something I have gone out of my way to acquire, at least not yet anyway. So, what's your most special pan, says Ronald Coward? That's a hard question because it really depends on the situation. Like, for instance, I'm kind of looking forward to the possibility that on the 4th of July, I might finally be able to bring out my big 15-gallon cauldron again and do a huge amount of jambalaya. On the other hand, for special pans, well, I've got my good old Lodge Redneck skillet here, which was and still is the very first cast iron pan I ever owned and used. So, definitely for sentimental reasons, this is definitely very special for me. On the other hand, ever ever since I acquired it, my number 8 BSR Red Mountain Pan has probably been one of the most used workhorses in my kitchen. So for special, it's hard to say. I really can't say that I have a single favorite pan, but I do have some pans that I do use more than others. I can certainly say that. Louis J, what would you consider to be your most memorable cooking experience with cast iron? Oh boy. Most memorable, well, one would be making that huge pot of jambalaya with the cauldron. That would certainly be one of them. Last year, when I took out my 16 quart Dutch oven to X Day, Subgenius X Day, check the videos for that. And I spent the weekend making bunny chow. I made pastalaya. And I made beef stew on that day, and that was definitely a real great experience. I really enjoyed the times I've made bunny chow in this cauldron here. It's funny; all of these seem to be talking about my pots rather than my pans. Okay, so yeah, um, I'm thinking it over. I'm having difficulty finding a moment where I could probably say that this is has been one of the best or most memorable moments I've had. It's hard to say. I mean, I've enjoyed cooking just about every time in cast iron, yet um, and I could probably think of some other special times with making Thanksgiving turkeys, especially when I made a slow roasted Thanksgiving turkey. That might still be the best one I ever made. Or again, it- I'm not sure if I have a real good answer to that. It's not like I have one particular thing. Oh, this was one of the greatest moments of my life. I'm not sure I really have that. Fuzzy wants Lodge to reinstate the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere and the Walking Liberty. Well, go onto the Lodge Facebook group and ask them that and see what kind of an answer you get. I recently sold my Midnight Ride of Paul Revere skillet. I sold it to Pawpaw Dan, in fact, and I do hope that it arrived properly. And as for the Walking Liberty skillet, well, I am so glad, really, that I managed to snatch this one up again from Cracker Barrel in 2022 when it was available. Because, yeah, this is quite a design on it, isn't it? And I do have sentimental reasons for this as well. In that my mom's favorite vintage coin was the Walking Liberty $50, and so as a result, yeah, I think of her whenever I use that. So I do have sentimental reasons for using this. So especially since her birthday is coming up this month. My late mom's birthday is June 23rd. So I'll definitely have to use that to pay tribute to her. Old subscriber first comment. Hello, the Sojo world. Started making bread. It's easy. Took me about 4 tries to get the texture, but it's fun. Oh, I don't doubt that. Bread making really is one of those hobbies that is, that definitely, well, besides the fact that it dates back to ancient times, but it is a hobby in itself. Just like pizza making is its own hobby, definitely bread making is its own hobby. Corey Clark, I have a lid for your 1 quart BSR pod. Really? I guess you are talking about this one then. This would be the Lady Bess 1 quart pot, which note has a metric measurement to it. So if there's actually a lid for that, actually, I didn't think they made cast iron lids for the Lady Beth. No, I'm sorry. Yes, for the Lady Best series. I was of the impression that they had glass lids only. So if you're saying that you have a lid that fits this, could you send me a picture, please? I'm interested and I'm curious as to what might be what you may be referring to, Corey. Because yeah, that does pique my curiosity. I will say that the walking lady is such a nice skillet. Yeah, I'm glad about it too. My grandma had a Walking Liberty coin. Exactly. That's just it. Walking Liberty skillet, probably as many as top 10 favorite cast iron skillets from Lodge. Exactly. Drama keeps me off Facebook. Well, I don't blame you there either. In that case, you're just going to love TikTok. I found Kenrick. I found an Atlantic bread pan from Portland Stove and Foundry this weekend. Can't wait to make bread. Nice. Okay. Post pictures. I mean, make them available on, oh, I don't know. You could post it to Instagram or Imager and share a link to it with us because, yeah, I mean, we would definitely love to see pictures like that too. So, did anyone else buy all of the Yellowstone collection? I certainly did not. I still have yet to see a single episode of Yellowstone, but that's only because I gave up watching TV when I gave up cable back in 2010. So there are more and more TV series that I simply have not seen, and well, that's my choice. I'm not asking for pity about that. On the other hand, at Cracker Barrel, yet again, as I think I mentioned, I managed to score a Yellowstone number 3 size skillet from Lodge. And this one was on their 70% off discount table. So this particular one here has a price tag. What does it say? $15.99. Yeah, 15.99, and yet I managed to score this for $5. And really, the only reason why I got it was because it was at such a discount. I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up reselling this. Interestingly enough, though, this has this raised Y on the inside of the pan. I suppose you could make something with the Yellowstone imprint with this particular little skillet, but I'm going to find out what to do with this. As I said, maybe I will end up reselling it. I'm still not sure yet. But that's the only Yellowstone skillet that I have, I'm afraid. So I have not yet collected any of the yellow skillets from Lodge. Yellowstone skillets from Lodge, says Louis J. Only post on YouTube, Fuzz48 YouTube. Well, there you go. Put a short video out and show it off there. Papa Dan, if you spoke to me, sorry I didn't answer, not to worry. Okay, but the meatloaf, sweet potato casserole all sounds really good. So, honey badger, I got some of the Yellowstone collection, so family members know that's the cast iron they can use anytime. Yeah, there's a plan for you. I mean, boy, okay, that's actually pretty much a new one. If you get cast iron skillets, especially so that your family could use them and not touch the rest of your cast iron, you might have cast ironitis. So how's that? I learned I love the prequels, 1883 and 1923, but I haven't yet watched the Yellowstone series. No TV. Yeah, no TV. Even though I have a TV up in my bedroom that I only got recently, but that's really just for more convenience more than anything else. I do still enjoy watching my video collection for whatever it's worth, and frankly, now for the second time this year, I've had to buy a DVD or a Blu-ray rather from eBay because it has not been officially released on video and it doesn't look like it ever will be. What am I talking about? Godzilla minus one. Yes, I ordered a Blu-ray from of that because I really, really want to see that movie, and I refuse to submit to streaming. But that's another completely different subject there. Donald Webb bought a vintage Lodge number 9 cast iron skillet with 3-notch and heat ring. Very heavy, like a lot. Oh, you have a number 9. Well, number 9 and number 6 are two unusual sizes for Lodge. I'm not going to call them rare. And for that matter, I'm not going to say that, oh, you've got a collector's item because it's a number 9. But for Lodge, the number 9 size is unusual. Some makers, especially Griswold and Wagner, they made a fair amount of those number 9 pans. Meanwhile, BSNR, um, a number 9 BSNR Red Mountain Pan is one of those extremely rare collector's items. And they might have made it with the Century series, but it is, again, extremely rare. So, yes, owning a number 9 Lodge skillet, a 3-notch Lodge, well, there you go. Well, number 1, I would say get some use out of it. Don't just make it a wall hanger. But number 2, be proud that you actually own something like that. Louis J, did you ever collect last year's Costco exclusive number 9 Lodge skillet? No, I can't say that I did, unfortunately. So I did miss out on that, but that's all right. I mean, I've got the same excuse that I've been using all of those other times. I've got enough cast iron already. I don't need to keep getting the latest issues from Lodge again and again and again just because they're out there, even though I did kind of splurge and go out of my way to get their Year of the Dragon skillet. Yeah, let me pull that out one more time, I guess. As far as splurging goes, yeah, I suppose you could say this was probably splurging. This is, in fact, the Year of the Dragon number 8 skillet from Lodge. However, um, no, I did not get the number 9 from Costco for that reason. Also, here in New York State, I don't think there is a Costco anywhere in this state. I mean, I've looked and there might be one in Pennsylvania if I were to go to the Pittsburgh area, but I still have yet to go to a Costco because I really have not been able to find one, unfortunately. I got one and love it. Got it on Close App. Really? Congratulations. The dragon is amazing. Yeah, I really like it too. Yeah, I'm quite happy to have that. That's for sure. The Chinese New Year's dragon, exactly, and that is, yeah. So I could use this on. Well, I could use the pen anytime, but if you want to but if you want to use it on a special occasion, well, there is Chinese New Year every year, and again, this is meant for the Year of the Dragon, which means in 7 years I'll be able to celebrate the Year of the Dragon again with the skillet. So yeah, I'm quite happy about that. There's a Costco here in New York City. Okay, then I stand corrected. I'll have to look it up the next time I go to New York City, which I'm hoping to do sometime before Labor Day. All right. Number 9 is about 11 inches. Um, you might be right, I suppose, since a number 10 is typically closer to 12 inches. So I guess you are correct about that. A few years ago, I did get the Lodge rust resistant skillet, which was also 11 inches in size. That was a different size. Um, s- uh, and in fact, if I remember right, I found it at a flea market too. So, but I think I ended up selling that one as well. So there we go. I guess I did have a Lodge number 9 for a little while. Anyway, don't come here. It's gross here. Shit. All right. I have 3 Costco's within 15 miles of me and I don't belong. Yeah. I suppose it's like Walmart syndrome. If it's in your area, you don't want it. Whereas if it's not in your area, you do want it. Well, I don't know if I want it. But nonetheless, well, I guess if I ever get a chance to explore Costco, I might. Then again, I have also never been to IKEA. So who knows? Fuzz Fork 8. Since your cast iron rack held up real good, I got around to getting one. Well, yeah. I mean, that's congratulations on that. I think these particular wire racks are awesome. And whoever designed these is quite frankly a genius because, yeah, they can hold a lot of weight. And that really helps if you are doing something like what I'm doing, namely collecting cast iron. So far, I've had these now for almost 2 years, and it does not appear as though my floor is sagging or anything like that. So I think I'm doing pretty good there. There's a Costco in Rochester. If that would be close to you, well, that's still about 2 to 3 hour drive away, but I'm not sure if it would be worth it just to go to a Costco. Of course, there are other excuses to take a trip to Rochester. I could go there, for instance, especially to have a garbage plate and then maybe go to Costco there as well. So who knows? You would need a membership card to shop at Costco, though. Oh, so in other words, then they're like BJ's then. Okay, that part I can understand. And that would also explain why they're supposed to have all of these great bargains then. So, so that actually tells me a lot. Thank you very much for saying that. Corey Clark, you need my email address. My email address is modemac@modemac.com. MODEMAC. As I said, I've used the nickname of Modemac since 1988, and I have had a domain name of modemac.com since 1999. And as I mentioned, I am slowly rebuilding my website at modemac.com, although I can and do receive email. So please feel free to email me as well. You can shop with a Costco gift card if a member picks one up for you. Like Sam's, and I hate it, overpriced. I've never really been to Sam's Club. I don't know. I've just never had the urge to do that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the Walmart version of BJ's, perhaps. But no, I've never really been to Sam's Club. Terry Sinchef, I have 2 of those wire racks, and Dana has 4. All right, you could get 400 rolls of TP if you go to Costco. Fortunately, I don't need 400 rolls of TP, not living by myself. A 12 pack will last me probably at least 3 months or so. So I'm doing pretty good there. Smash that like button. Well, thank you. And thank you very much, Mark Sieber, as well. I live alone, got nouse, I don't know. Got nouse for Costco. Sam or BJ's, too much stuff. That's the other thing. Yes, too. I do live alone, so I can also say the same thing that buying it bulk would be a little difficult for me because I'd have trouble using up all of that food. Although now I do have people to cook for, so who knows? It might actually be worth it for that reason. I think I'll mention as well this weekend. In fact, for my with my new friends and family. I am throwing a pizza party this weekend. In that I've invited basically, I have got to get her internet name because, as you know, I do not like using people's real names on the internet. But my friend and all of her kids, she's got 5 kids, although 2 of them have grown up and moved away from home, as well as a couple of other close friends. So with any luck, then by on this coming Saturday, I'm probably going to have maybe about 5 or 6 people here, including kids, and I'm going to make pizza. Basically, yeah, and the nice thing about this is it's going to be inexpensive too. I mean, what do you need to throw a pizza party? You go spend $3 for a nice full bag of flour. On Friday evening, I will put together a whole bunch of pizza dough and keep it in the fridge until about midday on Saturday. Saturday morning, I will start preparing the toppings, which is some pizza sauce and all of the usual stuff: pepperoni, sausage, caramelized onions, ground beef, maybe even throw in some pineapple. But yeah, and chicken too. And lo and behold, they'll be able to come in and build their own pizzas. And I have got more than enough cast iron pans of every size possible so that everybody will be able to get their own pizza. If they want their own personal pizza, here we go. If they want a giant pizza, well, here we go. Then I get to bring out good old Stumpy. So yeah, I am looking forward to having a pizza party on Saturday. Exactly. Who don't like pizza? Yeah, there you go. And while we're at it, though, I mean, please feel free to keep asking questions as well. Ronald Howard, what have you never cooked in cast iron and that one scrolled up. What have you never cooked in cast iron that you look most forward to trying? Oh man, things that I have not yet cooked in cast iron. As I mentioned, I want to get into bread baking for one. I need to do a lot more practice on my stir frying for another. So those are only a couple of possibilities. I'm not that great at doing layer cakes. I want to doing a little bit more of that as well. Um, so A lot of my dishes, it seems like, are very basic and simple dishes, and really, there's a lot of expansion, quite frankly, that I could still do. I mean, heck, I mean, even just imitating those viral videos, I would like to give that a try. But really, it's like there are just so many things that I still want to do and have yet to do. I mean, for example, I have made gumbo and loved it. I have made jambalaya and loved it. I have not yet made, and I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing this right. I've not yet made etouffee or etouffee. That other Cajun seafood dish. I have not yet made that, and that's yet another thing that I want to do. I need to expand and do more cooking from India. I'm already thinking, in fact, for Cast Iron Wednesday next week, I'm going to do India and make some good old curry chicken, complete in a yogurt sauce. And I'm probably going to do that next week here on Cast Iron Wednesday, for example. I've been using the Lodge pizza pan. Pizza heat, yeah, preheated, very good results. Definitely. I mean, pretty much everybody talks about those pizza steels, which are much better than pizza stones. Well, the cast iron pizza pan is just as good as a pizza steel, and it's less expensive too. You check the prices on those pizza steels; they're pretty expensive. I mean, while the Lodge pizza pan, you can find that at a discount if you look for it, and that is much less expensive than a pizza steel. Strong's Adventures. No, sir, you don't have enough. You don't have enough cast iron, brother. What are you thinking? We all need more. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, what can I say? I mean, there's still empty space, like over there on the wall, for instance. So yeah, more cast iron coming up. Who knows? Rick Green found a 259 Crescent Foundry Ozark, St. Louis, Missouri at a garage sale for $5. Cool little pan. Well, nice. There you go. Those are the type of finds that we can still find these days. You know why? Because we have a little bit of knowledge at least, and that in itself really goes a long way towards finding a real bargain. So I mean, all I can say there is just keep on looking, keep out on the hunt, and you'll see what you might be able to discover. No need bread in a Dutch oven, A plus. Yeah, there you go. It's been too long since I made no need bread. I need to make no need bread again. Um, Yep, they work great. Crawdad soup. I guess yeah, that would be etouffee if I remember right. Yeah, curry. Yes, yes, exactly. I think I may very well commit myself to doing a curry chicken next week, and then we will move on from there. So, let me check these comments here and see if we missed anything right now. Louis J, do you have one of all the modern cast iron besides Lodge? Are you interested in getting yourself any more cast iron modern vintage? Oh man, I do not have one of all of the modern day cast iron because there are quite a few of them these days. I mean, heck, I live only about 2 or 3 towns over, for instance, from Borough Furnace, which is producing these very expensive handmade artistic cast iron pans for one. I do not have one of theirs, even though I do have a cast iron bottle opener from Borough Furnace. I do not have a Grizzly cast iron, for instance. I had past tense a Lancaster cast iron that a person sent me as a present, and then I ended up giving that away in a giveaway. I mean, I know, thanks to you, Louis J. Yes, I do, in fact, have a butter pat. Yes, I do. And also, you sent me one other. Oh yeah, you sent me the field skillet as well, which I still have. And yes, I do in fact have a Stargazer, and I have a Finex, and I even have the Lodge Blacklock. Um, that is, other than Lodge itself, that's just about all I have as far as the modern day cast iron is concerned. So no, there are a number that I do not have. And what can I say? I'm trying not to be a hoarder. I'm trying not to get a piece of cast iron just because I don't have it. So that makes it a little difficult. Although on the other hand, I can pride myself on the fact that I'm not rushing out to buy every piece of cast iron that is made. Even though I did do things like, yeah, I mean, granted, admittedly, I did get the Lodge Heart skillet this year. Yes, I did finally succumb to temptation for that, for instance. So, just like how last year I also succumbed to temptation and got their skull baking pan. So, yeah, every so often, temptation still affects me. I'm sorry to say. And yet, I am also the one who has all four of the Star Wars skillets, those tiny little cookie skillets or pancake skillets, as well as the Spider-Man skillet. So, so I am certainly not innocent when it comes to collecting modern day cast iron. That's for sure. Make some cassoulet. Yeah, that's yet another thing I still need to do. I was told that when I made my Boston baked pork and beans recipe. That was where I took a big pork shoulder and slow cooked it along with a whole bunch of Boston baked beans. I was told that's essentially the same as a cassoulet, and I love how that turned out. And yeah, I would love to do the chance to do another cassoulet in that manner as well. Do you have a smithy? No, I do not. There's another example for you. I'm afraid I do not have a smithy. I'm sorry to say. Honey Badger, I've been trying out the set of 80s Wagner that I've restored. I had to season them with a paintbrush on the outside, but the inside milled very nice. It's like the opposite of Lodge. Well, that's actually interesting. And anyway, as you may know already, 1980s and 1990s Wagner unfortunately does not have much of a reputation because, regrettably, many of them tended to warp easily. Then again, it seems like all Wagners tended to warp easily. It's kind of hard to find any Wagner at all that isn't a spinner. If you have a Wagner that actually sits flat and isn't a spinner, then you definitely get a thumbs up from me. My Wagner chicken fryer is in the lye tank right at this moment, being reseasoned. I'm sorry, being stripped. And yeah, I have a plan that within the next couple of weeks, I will do a major project of emptying out my lye tank, and I've got a lot of seasoning to do. I'm not trying to be a hoarder of Strong's Adventures either, but I went all the Dolly Part but I want all the Dolly Parton stuff that Lodge has. They released a number of those Dolly skillets too. I mean, besides that one that has Dolly's image in it, some people say it's not a very good image, but then there's the Dolly butterfly pan. Then they re-released the guitar skillet, but this one with Dolly's signature. And I understand there's also a 12-inch skillet as well with Dolly. So also, I was told again at the National Cornbread Festival that those Dolly pans have been a huge hit for Lodge. Apparently, they are selling like, well, hotcakes, shall we say. And so, well, that probably means they're going to be selling and making those Dolly skillets for quite a while, which means we've got plenty of opportunities to get one, that's for sure. William Hurt, all my wags are flat. Yahoo! Well, you definitely have got yourself a okay. And likewise, Cynthia Wesley, every Wagner I own is flat. Well, then again, you both of you definitely get a thumbs up because just about all of the Wagner I've found in out there in the wild has been spinners. So then so so I'm very glad, and it also means you're taking care of your cast iron too, so you're definitely off to a good start there. Must have been showpiece Wagners. Strong's Adventures, we have a skillet set that my mom gave us when we got married in the late 80s, and none of them are spinners. Well, okay, but you know exactly where they came from, and again, that means you took good care of them, better than I did, that's for sure, when I started learning how to cast iron, how to cook in cast iron, because I think I told you the story of how I warped my Lodge wok. The big heavy Lodge cast iron wok, this one that I am using so much and I still get a lot of use out of it. So much so that I've dedicated a cast iron Wednesday each month, Walk Wednesday, to using this. This is a spinner because I treated it very poorly when I first started cooking in cast iron, to the point where I actually managed to warp this. So yeah, that was my fault, but it hasn't kept me from continuing to use it. I will say that much. And the nice thing is, and I would only apply this to a wok and not to any other piece of cast iron. A wok is designed to have the sweet spot in the center. That's the part where it gets especially hot. Well, guess what? What do you do? What happens to a cast iron pan when you warp it? It gets a hot spot in the center. So only for the large cast iron wok, I'm actually not regretting that I did it. But I would say that only for the large wok, probably not for anything else. I hear that a lot, CIC. Either spinners or wobbly, says Cynthia Wesley. Yes, exactly. Wagners are warped because most folks use them. What causes a pan to spin? Heat shock. In that the idea is that cast iron is here's something that is not true about cast iron. People talk about cast iron, and when they're trying to push it on you, they usually say even heating. This pan will heat evenly, and that is actually not true, because cast iron is very poor at conducting heat. It's good at holding and retaining heat, but very poor at conducting heat, which means that when you cook, you always start out with a hot spot in the center that slowly expands to cover your entire pan. And what people often do is they start out with a blasting heat, especially with an electric stove. They crank the stove top up to maximum, and that produces a hot spot in the very center here, with a drastic temperature difference between the center and the edges of the pan. And especially when it reaches that particular temperature, when you're talking like 1100 or 1200 degrees on an electric stovetop, that's enough to affect the iron and cause it to warp. That's essentially how pans like this become spinners. Namely, people heat them too hot, too fast, and that is the result. You get spinners. All right. After hearing they'll spin so quickly, I have barely used them, says Cynthia Wesley. Spinners work fine on a gas stove or in the oven. That is true, Rocket Caver. I'm not telling you not to use a spinner, because I've got several pans here that I use all the time, and they are spinners. All of my big BS&R pans are spinners, for instance. Here is a number 10 BS&R, number 10, which is 12 and a half inches in size, and this thing is a spinner. I still use it. Good old Stumpy, my number 14 BS&R, is a spinner. All of my BS&R Dutch ovens are spinners. The number 12 size, the even the large deep fryer, they are all spinners. My Red Mountain number 8 Dutch oven is a spinner. My Griswold Dutch oven is not a spinner, thank goodness. But as I mentioned, all of the rest of these are spinners. So yeah, spinners are pretty common. And I'm not telling you not to use them, that's for sure. My number 9 Grizz Dutch oven is a spinner, but I cook on gas. So what? Yeah. And here is one of my very first cast iron scores, which is an Erie number 8. And yeah, this is a spinner too. And I still use it, and I'm quite happy to use it. It's entirely possible that I might have either made it a spinner or made it a worse spinner, for the same reason why my Lodge Walk is a spinner. This was one of the first cast iron scores that I made back in 2011, and that was back when I really was still learning how to cook in cast iron. All right, Cynthia Wesley. The best way I take care of my irons are dare anybody other than me to touch them. They can have their way with the rest. Yes, yep, selfish. Well, Cynthia Wesley, was it you or was it somebody else here earlier tonight who said they got a set of the Yellowstone skillets, especially for everybody else to use? so that they can just use their own cast iron. Corey Clark, I found a hammered number 8 Wagner chicken fryer, deep skillet with lid, and it's fault as I don't get that. It's as fault as can be. I'm not sure if you mean warped or flat. Oh, you probably mean flat. Well, in which case, if it's flat, then well, there you go. Take good care of it. Definitely. Is that a casting flaw? I don't know much. I picked up a National Wagner number 8 skillet this week. I don't know much on it. Any help on it would be helpful. My understanding is the National series was one of those ones that, yet again, they made for specifically to be sold by retailers such as Sears Roebuck. So that is my understanding in regards to the National series. They produced them for a short period of time. I think it was about the 1930s or so. That is about the limit of what I know of the Wagner National series. But I hope that helps. William Hurt, I have a number 9 3-notch heat damaged lodge. Wouldn't have bought it, but I had to get my BSR chef skillet. Are you saying you? Oh, I had to get my BSR chef skillet. Oh, I see. So in other words, this guy would not would not sell you a chef skillet unless you also bought the lodge. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. Let me show you something, folks. When we're talking about this, here is something in really, really cruddy condition. This is, in fact, get this. It's a Wagner National. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I actually forgot that it's a National. And this thing is seriously fire damaged. This thing is so fire damaged that if you look at it really closely, it's not even round. And that's not even because, and that's not just from the camera angle either. This thing actually was fire damaged to the point where it looks like it's very slightly folded, not folded in half, but it's actually warped to the point where just that it's like that. And yeah, I actually tried to season this thing and I completely failed. This is a seriously fire damaged pan here. So when we are talking about warped pans, I can definitely say I've got one to show you. And in fact, that's why I'm keeping this, just to have an example for people whenever they say, I throw my cast iron pans into a fire all the time, and they're still as good as the day they were born. Uh-huh. I'm sure they are. You know how people who say that I clean my pans in the fire all the time, how many of those people actually post pictures of their fire clean cast iron skillets? I have to wonder that. Hmm. I have that same pan in perfect condition. Oh, nice. Well, then you're definitely better off than I am, that's for sure. National 26 to 36. Okay, that's longer than I thought. Still old though, so nice and congratulations on that. Good evening. Hello, Jose Torres. Nice to see you here on this channel, and thank you very much for joining. Dog food pan or cat food pan in my case. Yeah, that's certainly possible too. It looks like it's been in a dumpster fire. So, 4M Morris family, are you saying that pan might have been on Facebook? But yeah, yeah, I would not be surprised if when a pan is that incredibly damaged, I would not be surprised if it may have been salvaged from a house fire. I think I mentioned my BSNR number 12 Dutch oven probably was in a house fire too, because that one is also a spinner. And I was lucky to be able to season it. It is definitely fire damaged, but nonetheless, I've still been able to season it. Cynthia Wesley, I got one also with a sign that says, "Don't try this at home with a fire blaze." Ooh, nice. All right, getting along with it now. Okay, wow. All right, getting close to time. We're at 10 past 9. I can probably carry on like this for, I don't know, maybe another 10 to 20 minutes, I think. Ooh, it's like when I start talking here, I just end up talking and talking and just, and well, fortunately, that means the time flies, and I like that. So we've only got a little bit more to go. But keep on going here. That's when that's when your smoke alarm went off. Well, my smoke alarm hasn't gone off tonight yet. Of course, there is. Of course, we're not done with this video yet, so who knows? Corey, use a spin. Chris McGee. Corey, use a spinner for a dog food pan. It'll keep the dog busy. There is that too. Some dogs may like that, and others may not. All right. Getting on with it though, I mean, we still have time for a couple more questions anyway. And really, these questions I mean, granted, I have not been able to answer some of your questions probably tonight. I will say that. But nonetheless, I can only appreciate everybody who's been kind enough to do so because, I learn things as well as everybody else. What is the red in your Dutch oven on the bottom shelf? Oh, I see. You're talking about this. Yeah, yeah. These are dollar store cloths that I cut up, especially to keep them between those pans, because they say you're supposed to store your cast iron when you stack it up. You're supposed to do that so that they do. So that they have breathing room and to apparently keep them from rusting is that's my understanding. The lid to my deep fryer is now in the lye tank as well. I think I showed that off the other week, that pointed out that I needed to really strip that one and reseason it. So I've done that. A number of my pieces are in the lye tank now. And as I said, I've got a major project coming in a couple of weeks when I clean out the lye tank and get to reseason a number of my cast iron pieces. So my dog has a number 10 Wagner for his food. Wow, that's actually a large pan too. So Cynthia Wesley, I think all serious casters should own a damaged, warped, wobbly iron just because. Well, number one, I would hope you would be able to get it dirt cheap. But number two, as I said, I keep that fire damaged pan especially to show as an example of that. Yes, fire can damage a cast iron pan. Happy birthday, Rocket Jose Torres. Happy birthday. Birthday. Yeah, it's Rocket's birthday. Well, congratulations, Rocket Caver. Jimmy Langford, this national Wagner just needs cleaning. Sits flat and no cracks, in good shape. Well, that's good. Then definitely clean it up. Strong's Adventures. I sort of agree, but don't do a whole lot of collecting of older stuff. Yes, exactly. Large dog. I guess that is a large dog. In my case, I actually had to have an example of a fire damage pan just because, well, I do YouTube videos. And so I end up arguing on Facebook and YouTube and now TikTok as well with people who love posting comments saying basically, I don't know what I'm talking about. And while I could certainly say again that no, I'm not an expert, I do have some experience. And so, at least if nothing else, I could say I'm speaking from experience. I mean, I know about spinners. I know that cast iron can be damaged if you heat it up too much. I know because I've done it myself. Or likewise, I know that cast iron can be damaged if you throw it in the fire because, yeah, I've got an example there of a fire damaged cast iron pan. So, best deal you ever found? Well, there was my huge Le Creuset enamel Dutch oven that I found for $6 at a flea market. And granted, it was not in the best condition, but I still managed to get about 10 years of use out of it before I finally had to get rid of it because the enamel was, in fact, chipping. And I replaced that with my stove Dutch oven. Other deals, my Griswold Dutch oven, that was one. And I found it at Brimfield. I paid $10 for my Griswold Dutch oven because I found it at the bottom of a pile of rusty junk. It was orange from rust. And I went through electrolysis and took a long time to clean it up, but it worked. And so now, what can I say? You have seen my Griswold Dutch oven in action. And I'll tell you, the first time I actually cooked in a Griswold Dutch oven, that was an eye opener. I had never cooked in a cast iron pan as smooth as that one before. So yeah, that was definitely a good score for me, and I'm very very happy about that. Looking through my collection, I can also say I've told the story of my 15-gallon cauldron that I ended up paying $200 for. And I still think it was a good investment because huge cauldrons, especially these days, probably would go anywhere in the area from $600 to maybe $1,000 or more. So I'm quite happy that I managed to get that kind of a score. So I'm quite happy about that. Among other things, there's this number 3 slant logo Griswold that I got that I paid $10 for. Yeah, largely because it was a Griswold, but I was quite happy about that. And I just showed this one. This was in 2011, my first Erie, and this was one of my first cast iron scores and all. I paid $10 for this Erie number 8. So I am quite happy about that as well. I have managed to make some good scores. I will say that. I'm not really going to try bragging much. So um, I think I've told you about a number of my best scores, and I'm quite happy with that. All right, and Corey, that's why the only animal allowed in the house is my husband. Well, that's one way to put it, definitely. Cowboy Kent Rollins uses the campfire. Yes, he does. Cowboy Kent Rollins also tells people to grind down the surface of their rough cast iron. So that's about all I'm going to say about Cowboy Kent Rollins. He is a much better cook than I am, yes, but some of his cast iron advice is questionable. And I would say that in his face if I ever had the opportunity. I'm warming up some bacon, onion, jam, and smoked cream cheese in the same Griswold number 3. Oh, that sounds good, Handsome Stone. I like the sound of that. William Hart, Louis. I like Cowboy Kent, but I don't like everything he does. Yeah, that might be one way to put it, I think. I mean, I have enough respect for Cowboy Kent. I don't really watch him much. I don't hate him. I don't even dislike him. But again, he's not really my thing. I've mentioned, for instance, some of my favorite YouTube channels include Brian Lagerstrom. I've actually made some of his recipes here on this channel, for instance. There's another up and coming chef. His name is Adam Witt. He recently ran the YouTube channel Omnivorous Adam, but finally changed it over to his real name, Adam Witt. And he is one that I've been following for a long time, as well as, like, say, for instance, Louis J. Caster and Cooking or Cooking with Bobby Joe. Um, those are a couple, at least I can certainly say that, who've I've taken a look at some of their videos. And yes, likewise, if you have your own YouTube channel, please feel free to plug it here. I don't see any reason not to, I would say. So go ahead and post that if you would like. He's a little overwhelming. He's a great cook and he's old school, but I still like him. Nothing against anyone. Yeah, I could definitely say that too. So that's probably one way to put it. Cowboy Kent also looks down on you if you use charcoal. Okay, that's enough, I guess, there about Cowboy Kent. After all, the guy cooks for a lot of folks. He can't be all bad at all. So yes, exactly. That's just it. He is cooking and he is feeding people. So why not? So more power to him for that reason. Anyway. All right. As a person, he's cool, just overrated as a caster. Okay. We need a Poiki cooking project. Yeah, Rocket Caver. I would not object to that. Do another Poiki cost video at some point soon. Well, as I mentioned, next week I'm thinking of going to India and doing a curry chicken. Maybe after that, I should probably look into a Poikikos, yeah, which of course is South Africa, Dutch oven cooking in a cast iron poiki. That doesn't sound like a bad plan, and maybe we will plan on doing that. So let's keep that in mind, shall we? We are having a thunderstorm rolling in as we speak. 95 degrees today. Ouch. Well, welcome to summer. That's for sure. There is the cast iron IRL that's worth a watch. Oh yeah, yeah. I see what you did there, Honey Badger. But then again, I did say feel free to plug your channel here. Well, thank you as well, Ronald Coward. And yeah, I have been so busy, in fact, with my new family and friends that unfortunately I haven't been producing as many videos. But I still intend to keep on doing it. I do not want my channel to just shrivel up and die, and I will indeed keep on cooking as best as I can. It's only that having a life makes it a little more difficult to have an online life. Oh, Lewis weather is worse than ours. Y'all was just cold, now blazing. Yes, exactly. So, all right, which means I think we are probably starting to get into it. As I mentioned, I'm doing a pizza party this weekend. I'm going to try to take some video of it if possible, although that's difficult because, YouTube has a thing about showing kids on video. So my video of that pizza party is going to be limited for that reason, unfortunately. But hey, we will just keep on going. I'm also slowly rebuilding my website, trying to put as many recipes back on there as possible, as well as finish rebuilding the BSNR pages. And I'm just saying I'm doing the best that I can, really, to try to keep something of an online presence here. I'm really looking forward to all 150 cast iron chaos skillets making pizzas soon. Yeah, 150, maybe not. On the other hand, I'm hoping to do at least 4 or 5 pizzas on Saturday. That should be interesting. And I'm definitely looking forward to it too. So yeah, it is really. I'd like to see spiral deep fried potatoes using your apple peeler. Yeah, that's another project I've been wanting to do. See, so many things to do. And yes, I agree. I really want to do that as well. And gonna have to dedicate another time to that. As I said, I want to do cooking next. I want to do a curry chicken next week. Now, the week after that, I think I'll put it out to people. Let's see, for 2 weeks from tonight, who would want to see either spiral fried potatoes or a cast iron poiki? What would you think, folks? Let's see what you might want to say. Do you want to see fries or Dutch oven cooking in about 2 weeks? How about we aim with that, shall we? Save a piece of pizza, put some anchovy on mine. Yeah, that's not a bad plan in itself. So, and yeah, well, good night as well to Papa Dan. And I would say that's probably a good sign here that we're probably going to start wrapping this up, I think. Yeah, exactly. Get it while you can. Yes, I intend to. Yes, both. Fries, says Celine. Okay, I'll ask once again and we'll see what might happen. And then we'll probably be calling it a night. In 2 weeks' time, folks, do you want to see fries or Dutch oven cooking? How about that? Let's call it that way. Fry the potatoes in the poiki. Well, that might be one way to do it. And Jose Torres says fries and fried potatoes because I don't know what the other one is. Okay, Kevin Brown. Well, so far it sounds like the winner here is probably going to be fries. So, as I said, next week I think we're going to do a curry chicken because I like trying new things. And then after that, we will do some fries. And besides, we're getting into late June towards summer, and so definitely fries are a summer food. So potatoes, fries, horns of the proverbial dilemma, potatoes, a couple of votes for a Dutch oven, but more people. Oh, bunny chow for me. Yeah, I can do more bunny chow. I haven't done bunny chow for my new family yet. So there's yet another project that I'm definitely looking forward to doing. And having said that, though, yeah, again, this is one way really to make the time fly, and I like having these kind of discussions here. I mean, this has been a lot of fun for me tonight. I mean, I asked you to ask me some questions, and you've done so, and really, it's more like we have a two-way conversation than just me answering your questions, and I like that too, because as I said, I really enjoy having all of you folks here on my channel. As I mentioned, I like doing these live videos, especially for that reason, because you folks are here. because you keep these conversations going, and you make these comments and these jokes and these snarky criticisms and everything else. And that really is what makes these live videos a lot of fun for me. I mean, I enjoy all of this, all of the cooking. It gives me an excuse to keep on cooking, but doing these live cooking videos as well, that is definitely something that I'm quite happy about as well. So I can only, again, thank you everybody for being kind enough to show up here. I would like to see that pizza video. Well, I'm going to see what we can do about that. I need to see if I can burn a copy of Johnny Nick's CDs that I have and send you. Okay. I deep fry in my Dutch oven. I just looked up a Piqua. It's another name for a cauldron Dutch oven. Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what this is here. And this is also yet another of my favorite cooking utensils. So Flag Day is one Wednesday. Okay, so there's another sign for you. That means that I think we should probably be getting on here so that we can prepare for next week, as well as prepare for the pizza party on Saturday. It is a work night after all. It is Wednesday. And so a lot of us, including me, do have to get up for work tomorrow, which means, I think it's probably time to call it a night, and we will continue this. Well, we'll continue the cast iron discussion another month on Wednesday. Let me see, and then that's going to be Wednesday, July 3rd, because July 4th. No, wait a second, July 2nd. That's right. July 4th is it a Friday? Yes, no, it's not. I'm wrong. Wednesday, July 3rd, because July 4th is a Thursday. So there we go. And then the world ends on July 5th. But that's all in another month. Right now, as I said, we can look forward to, or at least I can look forward to, a pizza party on this coming Saturday. And then we will get to do all this over again next week. So thank you very much. And I'm fixing my sticky large Dutch oven by making taco meat in it. That's one way to do it as well. Potatoes for the win, definitely. And good night, Mercy B. Yes, and good night to everybody, though. Thank you once again for coming along. Thank you for showing up here tonight. Corey Clark and William Hurt and Ronald Coward and Chris McGee, Mercy B, Joyce W, and Strong's Adventures. So and thank you for the nice word for Strong's Adventures as well, and Cynthia Wesley, and yeah, exactly. July 2nd wedding anniversary. Well, congratulations, and definitely we'll have to do this for your wedding anniversary. But thank you so much to everybody for showing up, and as I said, for having fun tonight. I do my best to entertain you, and we will do all of this over again next week. So thank you very much, everybody, and once again, see you next Wednesday.